Welcome back to the Great Alaskan Journey channel. My name is Jacob and I have
Rick?
and we are doing, I think, our first podcast.
Yeah, basically it is our first podcast.
We've tried trials before, but never successfully got it done. So I think we're doing it for real this time.
Yeah, we are. We're going to give it a shot and see what happens.
And we're focusing on gardening today because spring is near.
Yes, and one thing we want to do is get it right this year.
For sure. At least get it better.
Yeah, better. Like, we just didn't get as great of a crop yield as we would like.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, yeah, I will get into it, but yeah, definitely that needs improvement.
Yeah. So, with the gardening, we are and talking about our mistakes. Let's go ahead and just hit that subject up right now about what we did wrong last year.
Not wrong,
Well,
but
you're right about not being wrong.
wrong, but I think we just need to improve our skills.
Yeah, that's true.
But with whatever went wrong, let's focus on the greenhouse first.
Okay.
So the 12 by 10 greenhouse, we had peppers, three different kinds of peppers, and then tomatoes in the greenhouse.
Because we had two two different variety of hot peppers.
We had a bell pepper
and
we had
bell
a chili
peppers.
pepper. Yeah. And we planted, I would think, like 35 of them. Not maybe 25.
Yeah.
Between the two.
I would agree.
And we just didn't get a lot from them. They were super small if we got them. I mean, we kind of got some medium-sized ones that probably like 2 inches.
Yeah.
But besides that, they didn't process correctly for whatever reason. But then the tomatoes, we got really nice looking tomatoes, I feel like.
But you do remember, because we looked up, because all our tomatoes were green at basically the point of almost first frost.
Yes.
And we were thinking that we were doing something wrong, so we went online and
because they weren't turning red.
yeah, they were just green. And we're like, okay, what can we do with green tomatoes? You know, do something like fried green tomatoes or something like that.
Yeah,
that would have been
green salsa.
Yeah, and we were thinking about those, but then we read online that actually you can put them in a cardboard box and I think like keeping them at like 75 degrees and they ripen, and they did. But once they ripen, you have to use them fast.
Yeah, and they're really good. Like, I feel like ripe tomatoes are really good for like pastas.
Yeah. We made 1 jar of pasta sauce.
And it was very good pasta.
Yes.
It was delicious pasta.
But I feel like we need to grow more tomatoes this year, actually.
Yeah, we need a bigger tomato patch.
Almost to the point of like taking up the whole greenhouse, because our greenhouse isn't that big.
But for that, yes. And a couple other things that failed extremely. Oh, I think one of the biggest things that failed was our broccoli.
Yes.
It never even
Produced. It just
produced.
bolted.
It bolted instantly bolted. And it was so upsetting because we planted so many and they were so big and tall and they were so ready to become this beautiful bush of broccoli. And they just flowered. It was so sad.
It was frustrating because we put so much. You would think, okay, we garden and you're going to save money in this and that. Well, when you first start off on gardening, you spend a lot of money.
You spend a lot of money to start up.
So that
Not like
thousands of dollars.
Not thousands of dollars. And if you can get some, horse manure from a neighbor or something, or blah blah blah, how we do here. But it is a pretty penny if you want to actually get some good tools and things like that.
Yeah. Well, because we did kind of the lasagna style gardening where I don't even remember how we did it, but it was like we put the cardboard down first.
Brown, green.
Yeah, basically brown, green. So we put the cardboard on top of the grass to kill the grass and to attract the bugs. Then we wet that, and then we placed the dirt on top. And then you're supposed to do another layer of like leaves or something like that. But we kind of skipped the process and we pretty much screwed ourselves on that.
Yeah,
We didn't.
we also didn't add any nutrients to the soil. We kind of just threw it in there and went all for it because winter, I mean, not winter, summer came so quickly and we're like, we got to get it out there, like, because you don't have much time.
When we bought the dirt, because in a lot of parts of Alaska, when everything's thawing out, trucks can't go down certain roads. So we couldn't get the dirt delivered to our house even.
Yeah, for a long time.
For a long time.
Even the snow was gone. Yeah. The snow was complete.
But the ground was so soft from the melting of the snow.
They don't let the heavy ton trucks drive.
So finally, it was like a couple of weeks after our first frost, or after our last frost, wasn't it?
It was right after our birthday. It was like May 29th.
And even when we got the dirt, we still had to build the garden.
Yeah, we haven't even built the garden yet.
So,
no, we did.
We had a portion of the garden built, but I'm saying laying the dirt.
We
down
had this.
Yeah. So that took a couple of days to do in itself.
Yeah, and we still have tons of dirt sitting over on the hill of it.
Yeah, we have a lot of spare dirt, but we have plans for that, which we will talk about in the coming 30 minutes or so.
I would say so. But besides that, I think everything else went pretty well. Potatoes did super awesome.
Potatoes was our best thing that we did do. We did realize that we harvested them a little too early.
Yes, harvest them too early. We learned that you should actually harvest them on your first frost because it doesn't affect potatoes that much because they're a root plant. Would you say that?
Yeah. I don't know technical terms, but I would call it a root plant.
A root plant, so the frost doesn't affect it all because the thing you want is underneath the ground. Yeah. So we definitely did those, I would say a month too soon.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And we got a lot of potatoes. They were just super small. Yeah. But they were delicious.
They were. We had to do something with them because the skin was so thin because we did pull them up early.
Too early, so the skin was too thin, yeah.
But we put them in brown paper bags and we put them in the refrigerator, and they actually lasted, for months. They did. I didn't expect it because
they didn't even sprout.
No, everything we read online was basically saying you got to use them soon if they have the thin skin, even if you refrigerate them. But ours lasted for a while. But we did do many things with them. We made potato soup.
Made potato bread.
Potato bread.
Like potato tortilla.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was. And so we did a lot of things incorrectly last year that we need to improve on this year. And another thing we did incorrectly last year was our seeds, like just starting our seeds.
Oh, yeah. We started them so early. It was so early, and we didn't know what we were doing that they just kind of...
We got excited. But
we thought we were missing it too. We didn't know what was going on last year.
But the one thing that we did that we lost a lot of was the peas. But we realized peas grow really quickly. And we replanted them basically right before we put them in the... We already created the garden and already planted things. And we started new peas. And they produced so much still at that point.
It was too cold for them to start. I think they froze. And then... But they did really well during the fall.
Oh, wait. They grew up the, what you call it, the trellis?
Yeah. So I think they got stunted during growth, but they've thrived during colder weather.
Did we lose anything else? A lot of
carrots.
Well,
carrots did not do well.
You shouldn't pre-plant carrots. Like, you just put them in the ground, we realized.
Yes. But also, the carrots we planted on time did worse than the ones we planted late. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was very strange, and I think it's because it was too cold in the beginning. Yeah. You really have to wait until that soil warms up.
Yeah. Our carrots were like all this big.
Yeah.
But it was still cool just to get stuff growing. It's an accomplishment when you look out at your garden and you just see green and things like thriving.
And you're like, I should go out there and like do something.
Yeah.
It feels like it just wants you to like attract you to go out there.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Just go in it barefoot.
It was a lot of fun. Just even going out there to water the garden.
Watering it. It just gave you...
It gave you life.
Life, yeah. Because you were giving life. So what else was on that? else was next?
Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the future of our garden. What we're actually plan on doing with the garden right now. Yeah. So I'll let Jacob take it from here because Jacob actually has a really good plan. We both got together. The one thing I'll say first is we're going to get cinder blocks to create garden beds this year and not just like have the dirt in mounds. So go ahead. Tell them what you thought we should do with the garden this year.
So we have rows, and it's enough to walk in between a little, I guess, side by side with your feet, but that's about it. And the dirt was so dry and we didn't neutralize it last year that when we watered it, it kind of just ran off immediately and didn't soak in the soil. So that's one thing we didn't do last year is didn't put nutrients in the soil to make it
Like
absorb it.
Yeah, because it's like clay. I mean, basically, we just put it doesn't absorb into the water. So, what do they call that? I forget what they call that. To where the water can absorb into it.
A sponge.
Oh, well, whatever.
But so we were thinking of doing cinder blocks this year, and doing just one layer because cinder blocks are like $2.83 a piece, and we figured we would need. How many do we figure? Like 350.
Yeah.
So that came out to be pretty pricey for what we want to do. So we figured if we saved up enough money until spring hit, we can actually get the block, but we would just start forming the boundaries now with the dirt at least and getting it.
Well, what did you want to do? Because we have rows right now in the garden.
Wanted to make kind of like a chessboard and do like square patches, but kind of make them rectangle patches. That way you can reach it from all sides, but you can still walk around.
Yeah. Them. And I would also like to put something down on the ground. If it's pebbles or if it's like wood chips, something that just, first of all, it makes it very aesthetically pleasing. And second, it kind of kills a lot of the weeds or like rocks in the, or not rocks, a lot of the weeds or the grass in the area, just so we can keep it clean.
Yeah. My phone.
You might want to.
My phone is falling.
It was doing good for a while.
Just a few technical difficulties. The tape isn't sharp enough to support this channel.
So everything we do is on a budget. So that's why we're doing the cinder blocks, because it is probably one of the cheaper ways of doing it. And
it's expensive. Everything's expensive.
But it will last a lot longer.
It'll last forever.
Yeah. So, and we can plant in the holes of the cinder blocks like little like cute flowers.
That was one thing we were thinking. So when you build like the 4x3 square to make the bed of whatever you're gonna plant in it, you can plant in the little cinder block holes.
Something to attract like the bees, or it doesn't, or just to make the garden beautiful.
Yeah, doesn't intervene with the actual vegetables.
Yeah,
and you can keep them separated, and then it's like. You just kind of push them aside if you want to grab a vegetable off a plant. So that's the plan for that. We do want to get fruit trees.
Yes. But we have to extend the boundary of our garden for the fruit trees, because the moose aren't really around during the summertime, but when wintertime comes, if we don't protect them, they'll get like the moose will come and like nibble on the branches. They won't destroy it.
Yeah, they.
Well, they could.
They demolish the branches around here.
But the whole concept is just to protect the plant year round from it. Summertime, it's not that big of a deal because it's like the moose just leave the area.
Yeah, there's so much to eat in the summer that they don't really care as much to eat your things, but they will for sure.
So we got to extend the boundaries of our garden to plant these fruit trees. We're definitely doing fruit trees because I want fruit trees, and we're going to get fruit trees. Now, we're not going to start them from seed or anything like that. We're already going to get like mature one, definitely
mature trees, because it would I don't even think you could. I mean,
I wouldn't.
20 years if you started. I mean, 30 years from a seed.
Yeah, so because I know a lot of people when we brought this up before, they're like, "You're not going to see anything for another 20 years." I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. We're gonna get it like a mature tree." Yeah.
Hopefully, a transplant. That would be dope.
That would.
A transplant would be awesome.
I would actually appreciate that.
Maybe Gail will give us a transplant.
So that. One second.
What else is on the agenda?
Okay, so that's the future of our garden that we really want to get to is the fruit trees, redoing the layout.
Just redoing the whole layout is our big.
And a mistake, I forgot to mention this, that I made last year was I put cucumbers outside and not in the greenhouse. And we realized that they got fried really quickly.
Yeah, we had a really warm summer last year. And the sun is powerful here.
It's up for like 18 hours.
Yeah, and it's even though it's 72.
Yeah.
Sitting in that sun.
Oh, you're sweating bullets.
95 for sure.
It's a lot different.
So different.
Yeah. So, what are we going to do this year with our seeds? Now, yeah, because we actually started growing some of our seeds even earlier than last year.
And we said that was a mistake last year. And we don't know if it's a mistake this year yet.
But we're doing an experiment because we're actually planting the seeds of things that take a really long time to grow. It's like 100+ days till harvest sort of seeds. Because our growing season is so short that we have to start these.
We're so limited.
Yeah, we have to start them at some point.
Yeah.
Before the snow even starts melting. So what are some of the things that we started?
Well, we did 3 different vegetables.
Okay.
I wouldn't call one a vegetable. So we'll start with the sunflower.
Yes.
We started sunflowers. And thinking about it and how tall they already are.
It might have been a mistake.
Might have been a mistake. Because those things are going to be 3 feet tall before they go outside.
Yeah. But we did buy big barrels to put them in.
Because if you think about it, a sunflower has to grow all the way up to its 8 foot.
I think it said around 6.5, 7 feet.
Yeah, and then it has to bloom the flower, and then it has to produce the seed, and then it has to die back so you can take off.
So we tried this last year. We planted it pretty late in the season, though. It just kept growing. We're like, when is it going to sprout its flower? Every time it looked like it was about to sprout its flower. No, it's another stem that just kept going up. Yeah. And we did get a flower, didn't we?
We got a flower, but no seed. I don't think we had the
correct
correct sunflower as well.
We might not have. But it didn't mature. I do know that.
It did not mature for sure.
So we thought if we planted it earlier this year. Now we have 5 big barrels right now to plant things in.
It's discounted.
Yes. We're bargain shoppers. So we got them. And if all else fails, we'll just plant them in those and just
use our grow light.
Yeah. And then when everything melts, we'll just shift them outside into the garden, just leave them in the buckets, everything like that. But it might work out. What's another thing we grew?
Another thing we grew was watermelon. Super excited about that. And if you think about it, watermelon takes a long time. Yes. So we thought we started planting this stuff that we thought would take a super long time.
Yeah.
So, like squash, things that kind of grow on vines, I feel like. So we did watermelon and pumpkin.
Yes.
And
those are 100+ days for harvesting. So we're really trying, because we want to have our own pumpkins for Halloween.
And the seeds are so good.
I don't even care about the rest of it. If I can just pull the seeds out and then bake them.
Bake those. They were so
We seasoned them last year, and they were so delicious.
Oh, pumpkin seeds.
Loved it.
And the watermelon, I think will do very well here because it needs a lot of sun.
Yeah.
A lot of direct sun, and then if the bees get on it and get that little goodness, get the little yellow.
Hopefully it doesn't flower before.
Could you imagine?
Well, actually, does it need to be pollinated? Because certain things don't need to be pollinated. Like our cucumbers last year, they were like self-pollinating.
Yeah, there's like well, I guess clone to pollinate itself.
I don't know much about this. I just work here.
I just go here. But what else do we got?
Then we have we only have one more. Oh, giant cabbage. Now that's going to take a very long time to grow.
Very long time. It is this big. The sunflower is like this.
Yeah.
And we planted them at the same time.
But here's a little secret. We want to get one good enough to put in the Alaska State Fair.
Not a secret anymore.
Not a secret anymore. We don't know if we're actually going to accomplish it. But you know what? You got to set yourself up for a goal. And you got to shoot for it. Now, our friend Gail.
Oh, that's the only reason why I'm concerned is because we're also doing this for a friend. And if we fail, she failed.
Yeah. But at the same time, we're having a competition between each other.
We are.
It's a friendly competition.
Because I think she did plant some too. Because
she did.
Yeah. Because she wasn't supposed to be here for winter, but I think she decided to be here for
a portion of it.
Portion. They were going to go. Yeah.
So we're competing with her, and then whoever has the biggest cabbage has to promise to put it into the Alaska State Fair. But you know what? If ours is big enough and good enough, and then we lose to her because she's really good at what she does, we're going to put it in anyway.
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of cool. For only our second year of gardening, and then we get to be able to put in a giant cabbage to the Alaska State Fair. It just sounds kind of cool.
It would be fun.
Yeah.
And I would be upset if I had to work that day.
So.
But do we have anything else for the garden?
No, we only had 4.
Just for the garden. All right. Well, yeah.
Well, what else do you want to plant in the garden? Because here's our problem that we did last year. We planted too much variety, and a lot of stuff we didn't even eat.
Kale. We did 30 things of kale, and we didn't.
No. We were going to juice it, and then we were looking at it, and it just, never got good enough to actually, I feel like, to pull and to juice it. So, the beets was not an utter failure, but it failed, and we weren't sure if they were actually,
We didn't plant them.
Yeah, we planted them too close. Another mistake from last year is we planted them too close.
You gotta separate those guys.
But I want to plant a lot of tomatoes, cucumbers. We only will plant one thing of dill this year because dill grows a lot, and we got to keep trimming it.
I would say maybe 2.
Okay, so 2. But we had 5.
We had a lot.
And they all bolted.
No, we had 10.
Yeah, we had a lot. So other than that, we want to keep it simple. Basically, what we're gonna.
I can't wait for the strawberries to come back.
Yes, we have strawberries.
So many strawberries.
Strawberries are coming back. Horseradish is coming back. Chives are coming back, and rhubarb is coming back, and raspberries are coming back. So those are things we don't.
And hopefully some of the flowers.
Yeah, but we have a whole thing of poppy seeds. That we're gonna plant to really just make the garden pop.
I love the poppy seeds. They were so pretty when they finally bloomed.
Oh, we're kind of jumping all over the place here because I keep thinking of things. So talking about the future garden again, we also have our bald old tires from our car, and we just have them sitting in the garage. And so we're like, what if we put them on the outside of our garden and fill it up with dirt and put in something there? It doesn't matter if it's flowers, vegetables, herbs. It doesn't really.
I was thinking of something that's permanent and annual, so it would come back every year, and we don't have to move it. We don't have to mess with the tire. You just kind of trim it back, and it comes back every year. Something to put around the perimeter of the garden.
Right. Yeah.
A moose wouldn't eat rosemary, I don't think.
Probably not. Well, if it's tall enough.
It's very potent, though. You would think they'd be
It might attract them too, though. Who knows? We'll give it a shot no matter what.
Yeah, I think we're gonna utilize the garden much more this year.
I think, we're gonna be more efficient with our gardening this year. But everything that we're gonna put in, I don't know if I said this or not. I feel like I have, but I'll say it again. We're gonna keep it simple. Just put our very basic ingredients.
Yes, keep it simple.
Put our basic ingredients.
Lots of potatoes.
Yes. Oh my God. I want to do potatoes so much, all different varieties, because I love potatoes. We use potatoes all the time.
All the time. And it's a great starch, hearty starch for winter.
Yeah.
And they last so long.
Yep.
But we also want to, this is off topic, but a lot more canning next year. So it's we're thinking about future canning. So we really do want to plant a lot. And I think if we just also overdo ourselves this year like we did last year of things we actually like, it'll be okay if we overdo ourselves this year.
But just keeping everything just like easier. Yeah, just like simple. We just really shot for the moon on last year.
We full sent it last year as much as we could.
We did. But you know what? We're still happy. We're still happy with our accomplishments that we did last year, because let me tell you,
that garden is beautiful.
The garden was beautiful. I just loved walking out into the garden and just like looking at it. Like, yeah, I did this. Like, there was
the fence and everything, digging.
Oh, we never talked really about that. If you watched one of our past videos, you would have realized that we chopped down the trees. They were dead trees already. We dug the holes and we cemented these dead trees into the ground and bought some fencing and stapled it to those poles and created our own garden for a very cheap cost, actually.
I think so.
For what it is.
I got the fencing. I got the metal galvanized fencing on sale.
Yeah. And it wasn't even some of the stuff given to us by Gail.
Yeah, we got not the garden, but the compost. The compost is given to us by.
I forget that we still have fencing over there.
There's a bunch of fencing
underneath the snow. Huh. So we have a lot to do. So what's next on our agenda here? So we talk about the future seeds? Oh, another thing that we are gonna do better this year. We want to do onions by seed, but we went to Home Depot and we found the onion bulbs. We heard it was a lot easier to grow onions that way.
We failed on that.
Okay, you get like, what was it?
$2.98, $3.98.
Yeah, $3.98 for like 40 bulbs or something.
40 or 50 bulbs.
Yeah. So super cheap still. Not as cheap as you've grown from seed, but this way it kind of like secures our onions. Last year our onions literally like the bulb was that big.
They were shallots. They were mini shallots.
They were so.
But we cooked them, and they were good, and I loved them.
We tried to use everything we could.
They were doing so well, and then they just started dying. I think it was. But then again, when you watch that one movie, someone was, I don't want to do this anymore, Grandpa. What's that movie? Holes. You know, when he's at that scene, he's eating the onions.
Yeah.
And it's almost like swampy. See, I was thinking about that because we have a drip system that helps us water during the really hot days. We just have the drip system going for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I was like, maybe the drip system is ruining the onions that way, and they're getting just too soaked for too long. Yeah. But then I would think of holes, and I'm like...
Well, I think another problem of ours was just the soil in that sense. Because the water wouldn't like just go through it.
Yeah, but it would soak. The soaker.
Yeah, but the water would still drizzle down the edges and stuff. So we really failed on that. But you know what? Everything's a learning curve. I find gardening fun.
It's fun.
And
peaceful.
If you just have things green in there, it's a good time.
The flowers. I love the flowers.
Yeah. So I think we're wrapping it up here. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say wrapping it up too. It's becoming dark. I would say it's 8:30.
Close, yeah.
I think we start getting pitch black at about 9:30.
9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, pitch black. So days are getting longer. Summer is coming. Garden is coming. Snow is melting.
If you haven't checked out any of our gardening videos, go ahead and check them out now. You can see everything that we were talking about. It's all explained in those videos of our novice gardening skills.
And it's a lot easier than you think to get started.
Yeah.
If
you're thinking about doing it, guess what? Just do it. Does not matter if you know what you're doing or not, because you'll get something right and you'll learn something from it, and just keep going. So thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for watching.
And it's getting really cold out here because the sun is going down.
My hand is frozen holding this microphone.
And my nose is starting to drip. So we'll see you next time, and thank you very much for joining us. Have a great night.